It's Jazz Fest weekend here in New Orleans. We're at the Mortal Machine Studios. I'm Chris True. That's Gabe Schaefer. And this is our guest of honor today, Ravi Zupa, all the way from Denver, Colorado. Ravi, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to New Orleans. Congrats on a cool opening last night.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Yeah, so we're going to get to know Ravi. We're going to talk about the Denver art scene, talk about the show last night. And yeah, we're stoked to have you, which is kind of, it's a freewheeling, open-ended, playful conversation.
Dope.
Yeah, I like it. Gabe, it's been very busy. It's been very busy this weekend. It is Jazz Fest, a big time in New Orleans. How you holding up over there, buddy?
We're keeping it together, honestly. Pleasantly surprised. There's
a
moment
tell the
there.
Audience what's in this glass over here?
Sparkling water and yerba mate. It's a sparkling mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a little mix every day because to me the yerba teas sometimes are a little too sweet, just straight up. So that cuts the sweetness down. It's also my secret for how I can still occasionally have my Jack and Cokes without getting too much of the belly going on. I cut it, with some soda water or sparkling water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut the sugar down a little bit.
I respect it.
Tiny little cheat codes.
Tiny little cheat codes.
Yeah.
Rob, you have any cheat codes? Any culinary cheat codes?
No, let's think. Sometimes I eat tofu without cooking it.
What?
And that's a cheat.
This is already getting clipped out, I can tell. You eat tofu without cooking it?
Yeah, it's good. People should try it more. It's really flavorful. People talk shit about tofu, but it's more flavorful than steak. So I'm proclaiming that.
Wait, you are shooting...
Pipe bomb.
You're shooting out of a cannon right now at the start of this podcast.
Yeah.
Tofu is more flavorful than steak.
Definitely.
And you sure this is not the Colorado in you talking?
Oh, no. Nope.
How long has this been true for you?
Always. Always.
Are you vegetarian?
True. Yeah.
Okay, there's also
I was raised vegetarian, actually.
Fair. Okay. Gabe, you look like you had a lot to say from the moment.
I have nothing to say. I don't know how to. I have to sit with that. I've found that as I'm getting older, Chris, you know how my mouth is.
Yeah.
I think it's better now when something's powerful, I want to sit with it.
Okay. All right.
That's a powerful statement.
Robbie,
tasting the statement.
I am tasting the statement. Exactly. That's very good. Yes, I'll take
really
that.
Flavorful.
It was a very flavorful statement too.
Yeah. So, Gabe, when this show first came together with Ravi coming to town, did you put it on this weekend on purpose? Because for those of you who don't know, this is on the Mount Rushmore of New Orleans weekends, Jazz Fest weekend. So, was this on purpose? What was the thought process there?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, because now I've done the wheel enough times of yearly shows, and done it here. There is obviously this whole other sort of consideration level that goes on as far as the shows that I select for specific times of the year. I'm usually trying to target things that I think will make sense for those events, and I thought that Ravi would be super ideal for Jazz Fest. Yeah, without question.
Yeah, but why is that? Like, what about Ravi? What about
things.
Jazz Fest?
A few things. Well, number
Ravi,
one.
wait, before he talks, are you okay with getting complimented on camera?
Sure. Yeah, bring it on.
Sick. So, yeah, I mean, well, the first thing that's the obvious thing is that his history with music, working with musicians and working with doing really great I guess the term that maybe still applies is gig poster work that's really, really super strong. But then also Ravi has always been really I would say one of our strongest audience connectors in the stable of artists that we have that we show through the space. Whether it's been, I think we've done maybe 2 things before this, the shows that we did with him, maybe 3 things actually, if you include the museum show. There's always this undoubted resonance that people connect with his work and really engage with his stuff. And he's by far our most popular seller when it comes to our prints as well and our merch. My God, dude, I don't know. I mean, Matt Darling's really popular too for us, but in terms of prints, Ravi's like definitely king of our prints as far as print sales. I have no idea how many people have connected with his work since we started carrying his prints through our space. And then his print-based originals, the collage works, like I have a very particular place when it comes to collage and ephemera because, my earliest works for almost 8 to 10 years when I was full-time was all working with collage work and working with mixed media collage work. And so he's one of my favorite collage artists as well. And there aren't very many that I think they're really, you probably know maybe more than I'm aware of that are working this day and age, but there's not really that many people I can think of that work with collage that I'm actually that attracted to. But I really appreciate Ravi's sensibilities with how he can weave these chaotic, Ravi's work in any other hands would be a fucking mess. But Ravi somehow manages to like balance a lot of imagery, and his tonal values are really smart, and so it doesn't feel chaotic when I look at his works. There's harmony, and I knew that it would look really, really strong in the Red Room. So yeah, so those are a few reasons.
Ravi, that's so sweet.
That is.
I kind of think about what I do, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Obviously you have great taste, and that's the reason why this gallery exists. But I gotta say, we've been doing this podcast for almost a year now, and this is on the higher end of compliments you've given on the podcast.
I mean, I really like his work, man. Yeah, I really appreciate his work, and I think one of the other things about this show that's a newer level of appreciation is I have seen photos and images of his sculptural works before, but I have never seen his sculptural works in person. And so, when you are aware of the fact that an artist is such a proficient technician in these like multiple mediums, you have to admire that, Yeah. I think you also still are probably one of the few people that still actually do your sketches with pencil. Everybody's on a damn iPad, including me.
Yeah. Can you talk more about that, Ravi?
Sure. Yeah. So the art you're talking about, the print-based originals, I actually generally try to avoid the word collage, even though you're absolutely correct. They are collages. But that kind of makes people think that I'm cutting images out of magazines or, that I'm taking somebody else's art.
Yep.
But yeah, all of it is my own drawings, paintings, and it all starts with pencil and paper. And basically the process for those is sitting down, a lot of times looking at books, generally looking at art that I love, and then drawing ideas, trying to sort of mix different ideas and see what comes out. And then we make prints, which are usually screen printed. Sometimes we do some lithographs. And then we always get like extras, like the prints that he's talking about that we sell in general. That's kind of like the original ingredients. And then there's always misprints, or there's extra or damaged ones that come back. And so those ones I tear up and recombine into new work. And that's where the print-based originals are from.
Is that common for the type of work that you do, where people are like not wasting less and less? Is that common, or you feel like that's something?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. I mean, we have so much damaged, unfortunately. Just like we have like printers all over the city, and then we have a printer in Minnesota, so we get shipped, big boxes of prints, and there'll be a lot of them that are dinged up, and so you got to do something with it, and just put them in the landfill feels kind of shitty.
Yeah, and you turned it into a revenue stream. Yeah. I hate to say it that way, but you made it into art.
Definitely.
That's so cool and so stoic, just so like next level, just to be like, this thing arrived damaged. We're still going to use it. We're going to figure out we're going to pivot, basically.
Yeah.
More pivoting needs to happen in this world.
Yeah, definitely.
More pivoting.
Yeah. It is also on the like revenue front, what that you said, which I don't find a vulgar thing to think about.
You're right. That's my own money mindset hang-ups I got to work on.
It can be, but yeah, it also isn't bad. But we also, we sell prints that are as inexpensive as $10, and then I have sculptures and paintings that are $20,000, And then there's everything in between. And this was sort of one way, because sitting down and, making a totally original piece of art is very time consuming. And that's going to obviously drive the price up. And so my goal as a business person is to try and fill the whole range from the lowest cost to the highest, so that there's stuff available to everybody. Everybody's invited. And so you can kind of populate everything in between by doing creative things like that.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like your work too is, I feel like people who have spaces and they want the space to have a certain feel to it, I feel like a lot of your prints are conducive to being like, this is the kind of space where blank happens. Speaking personally, I teach improv classes and I have a comedy classroom. And I have a print hanging up in there, your So It Goes print with the skull. And that just feels like that resonates with the people who are in that room to create like temporary art, via improv comedy.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't like clutch onto it going a certain way. You have to be like open-minded. And so I think that in that space feels like good for me. And I'm sure that there's like coffee shops, other classrooms, other creative spaces where your work is hanging, and people are just like, that's what we're about, what this says.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely do hear from people that it fits just right with a cultural piece that's going on. Yeah, that's a nice feeling too.
I bet.
So thank you. I'm honored.
Of course, I'm honored to be sitting on the sofa with you. Yeah. And with you too, Gabe.
Oh, I'm honored that you're with me too, buddy.
Gabe, do you have a favorite of Ravi's prints?
I have a favorite of Ravi's print-based original presently, which is it titled Marvello? Is that correct?
Marvello. Yeah.
Marvello. Yeah. Man, that painting is really, really beautiful. What a gem that painting is.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's perfect. The scale's nice and punchy. Looks like it's about, a 40 by 40 or something, 36 by 36 maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, it's 4 feet by 4 feet.
48 by 48 then.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
And, the negative space of the bottom end of it with that sort of open red area, but there's this, like, slash that kind of goes through it in this thin diagonal shape that it looks like maybe it's like a section of paper or something that's peeking through underneath. And that piece just hits really nice. And it feels like the more I gazed at it, the more it's this almost like feline. Like, what's the deal with tigers, man? You seem to be. Is that like your spirit animal?
Yeah.
You're really into feline animal energy.
Definitely, I love cats a lot. I've always loved cats. When I was a little kid, I went to a thrift store, and there was like a stack of old calendars that were from years past. And I went up to, I was probably like 5, and I brought them to the counter and said, how much are these? And the clerk thought I was cute and said, they're 1 penny. And then I was blown away, and I took all these calendars, and I just like plastered my room with pictures of cats. And I was just real like obsessed with cats. I've always kind of been around them, and I love them.
Wait, that is such a sweet story. We like everyone who like does shit has some sort of story like that where it's like, I'm not saying it all like goes back to this lady at this thrift store, but in a way, like there probably is some sort of connection where it's like that gave you. I don't know if that wouldn't have happened. What would have? I don't know. What would we be sitting here talking about? Would we be sitting here? I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I just love stuff like that.
I do too. Yeah. I know it's moving, and it's cool. Like when you're a child, and you like kind of just mark a memory as significant, and then later to make sense of it, and just kind of think about what an adult must have been experiencing, and what a cool person she was for that.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Yeah, it's like.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, for myself, I think I'm thinking about right now is like I'm teaching these, I'm doing these improv and stand-up comedy classes for these kids here in New Orleans at this organization called Son of a Saint. And it just hit me this last session of classes where it's like, I know these like 11, 12-year-old boys, and like in some cases, they've never like walked into a room and had 50 people like clapping for them, or they've never had more than 5 people laugh at something that they made up. And I'm just like, like we just need to have this needs to be happening more often. We need to be like going to kids and being like, you can do this thing, you can pursue this weird thing. This, even though you might not know anybody who's an artist right now, like you can be an artist. That's what I'm thinking of right now. It's just like what a fulfilling experience that is.
Yeah.
And us as adults or listeners, you know, like we could do that for the youth today, you know. It's just so sweet. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gabe, do you have a moment like that?
Do you want me to really tell you what came to my mind?
No.
The King of Prince says no.
No.
Can I call you the King of Prince, by
Definitely.
the way? Okay.
Hey,
Clearly.
what a term. Oh boy. All right. So obviously my mom's an artist. Ever since I was a baby, I've been around art making. She had me in a sling when I was an infant, and she would be painting these large Grandma Moses style landscapes, you know. But my mom also is a sculptor, and her earliest works previous to her near-death experience were very much like traditional folk motifs, which a lot of Southern and Appalachian folk artists in the 70s and 80s were working with, typically like a lot of like religious subject matter, but it would be like off the wall. So like anyone that's out there that's familiar with, say, somebody like Howard Finster, who's kind of like one of the godfathers of Southern folk art, he was a preacher, but he was extremely eccentric. The way that he started his art career is that he was repairing or painting a bicycle he had repaired and got some paint on his finger, and all of a sudden God started talking to him through his finger. He had a face that appeared on his finger and told him to start making art as his ministry. So he was extremely eccentric, believed in UFOs, all that stuff. And my mom is, in case anyone that's not familiar with me isn't familiar, is extremely eccentric as well. And so when, she made a lot of these like Bible-based story sculptures out of wood, and she made I was maybe not even 2 years old possibly, and she made this wood sculpture that she titled Gabriel, and it was the angel with the wings and everything, and it was supposed to be either me or for me or whatever, but the angel had a gigantic wooden heart on with a heart drawn at the end of it, and it threw my family for a loop. And something about that really blew my mind on so many levels, because I wasn't able to process what it was that everyone, like that my grandmother was so freaked out about, and everyone in this conversation. I just remembered this wooden boner piece that my mom made everyone have some kind of opinion, and I was blown away by how something that simple could affect people. So that's what you just made me remember. So, I wasn't so much like that I was in awe of all the colors. I was in awe of when my mom would do shit that would freak people out. And so I think that stayed with me a lot about like how art can really hit people. Yeah.
And here you are 47 years later freaking people out on a daily basis.
Yeah.
With an erection right now.
My mom was generous apparently. But yeah, and it probably explains a bit about my love life too. But yeah, that
different podcast.
That's that's what the first thing it made me think about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Ravi, what's the first thing that you think about when you think about the Denver art scene? Are you born and raised Denver? Mm-hmm. Okay,
Just south of Denver, like in a Littleton of Columbine fame. I'm from there.
Okay, so let's talk about the Denver art scene, because on this podcast we've had artists from all over the country here, and it's been really fun to hear people talk about what it's like doing what they do in these towns. I think people are interested in that who follow this podcast. So let's get into Denver for a minute. What is the Denver art scene like?
Man, I actually really don't know anymore. I was very, very plugged in like 10 years ago, and I was kind of, really very much part of it. And I knew everybody and attended all the events. And
well, is that as a result of, and I mean this in a kind way. Is that as a result of being like successful to a degree where it's like you're you're not like all in the scene trying to like do all the networking? Because I know I think I have an idea of what that is like from like a comedy sense, where it's like I don't feel plugged in to what's going on in the New Orleans comedy scene anymore, because it's like I'm sort of like doing my own thing now. You know, I feel like that's true in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that is true. It's also just being an old man and kind of, you know,
less profound than what I said.
It's definitely true. Like I was relying much more heavily on Denver back then, 10 years ago, for my income and stuff, and now less so. And definitely, but yeah, I moved to there's like an industrial town connected to Denver called Commerce City, and there's all kinds of like warehouses and industry, and you know, it's real polluted and really different world. And I moved out there, and yeah, I really love it a lot. And I've kind of just become much more of a recluse, and I'm in my own little world.
So would you tell someone who was thinking about moving to Denver for the art scene, what advice would you have for them? Or would you say, yeah, do that? Or would you say...
I really don't know. Like I said, I mean, it seems to me like there's a lot... I honestly don't know. And I want to be careful, because I bet there are people in my town. I've heard from younger people that there's a lot going on, but it's so different than what was happening when I was young. You know, those like... When we were young, there were a lot of those kind of warehouses where a bunch of people live, and they do art shows, and they do punk rock shows and parties, and those places are kind of dried up. They don't seem to exist anymore. So, and that back, you know, those were whatever they were. They weren't like lucrative like business operations or something like that. But there was just a lot going on and a lot of people, and it was cool. It was fun. And it doesn't seem like that really happens anymore. So I don't know, honestly. I don't know.
Where would we tell people to move to? Gabe, what's your answer to this? Like, if someone, I don't know, let's say you're here in the background. We are in the French Quarter. Reminder to the people who listen to the podcast. Life is life in outside.
It's noisy here. Shocker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's noisy here in the Mortal Machine podcast studio. We're right across the street from the gallery. We're surrounded by people who are...
It's Saturday, babe.
Playing whatever music they want to play.
It's time to turn up.
It is time to turn up.
Yeah.
All right, so the question is, you're an artist in your mid-20s. You're above average. You got a hook. You know, there's something special about you, and you want to move somewhere. Where do you move?
Well, a lot of that depends on what the medium is, but if it was like 2D image-based work that's sort of similar to what either the territories that Ravi works in, or the things that I appreciate, not craft-based work. I mean, there is a craft to what we do, but you know what I mean, not like ceramic, utilitarian type stuff. That's all. To me, Carolinas. If you're craft-based, go Carolinas or New Mexico. If you're an image maker, though, and a narrative-based artist and a figurative-based artist, I mean, I think the safest bet at the moment is New York is always going to be a place that I think would be good if I was in my 20s to cut my teeth. If anything, and because you're talking about the age bracket there, and I think that they got to get some like roughness, and they need that like pressure to really form that diamond. So I think New York is always a good safe choice. Safe, I love that. I applied that term to New York. I think also New Orleans is very particular because we always have people here that are falling in love with this place all the time, and I feel like I'm talking more artists out of moving here than talking artists into moving here.
Ooh, why is that?
Because I don't think they actually understand how hard it is. They're really charmed by the magic and the feeling of this like freedom that does exist here. But as you and I know, this is a place that you actually have to make an effort to live in. It's not. They call it the Big Easy, but I'm sorry, there's times that it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's a relationship.
It is an absolute This is the best toxic relationship you'll ever have in your entire life with this city.
And Ravi's having a weekend fling with the city right now.
Yeah, it's lovely.
With the city, to be clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I would have said LA, but I know that at this very moment, folks are having a tough time in Los Angeles because of the film industry being affected, and that's a good part of the buying base there. And the fires affected a lot of stuff, and then just the general tone of the fact that we're living in this weird dystopian hellscape right now. So I think that's really hurt Los Angeles, because Los Angeles was the physical center for a second there. It's like all the galleries were opening up their second and third locations in Los Angeles, not even 5-7-ish years ago, just pre-pandemic. And so, but all that has changed quite a bit in the last year. So I think that honestly, as long as you're making an effort as an artist to spend some kind of time in these major cities, you could set up in a really weird little place and create, your own little universe. But I don't know, man, if I was going to tell an artist a city that they had to live in to get their asses handed to them, go to New York. Yeah.
Okay. Ravi, what would you say?
Oh, I would say just do art wherever you are.
Doesn't matter where you live.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but there's just so much connectivity online, and you can. And yeah, I mean, my advice would be bring your expenses down as much as you possibly can. So my advice is probably the opposite of go to New York, and go somewhere cheap, and like make fantastic art and like really do it.
Yeah, big fish, small pond mentality.
Yeah, sure, and the whole world is still the pond. You can still share everywhere.
Yeah. Yes, I kind of feel like that was. I'd like to think that was true even before even pre-internet. Where it's like, no, the best idea is for you to go somewhere where you can live comfortably and not have too many barriers between you and making art.
Yeah.
Whether that is like visual art or theater or whatever. I've always felt that way. I love the big fish, small pond mentality.
I think there's seasons though to artists' lives, and if we're talking about like mid-20s, I think it's just key for an artist to go somewhere that is a bit of a thresher. Figure it out after you've raised your skill level a little bit. 100% agree with you about lowering, of course, listen to me, but lowering costs on things like that. But also totally agree that you can kind of be anywhere if you have something that registers, because of the fact that we do have the means to be able to communicate those things with vast audiences. But I would like to strengthen an artist, and to me, to make someone a stronger fighter, you gotta get their asses handed to them for a little while.
Yeah. So the ideal timeline maybe is like
30s is when I think I would start thinking about
20s in like giant city that might kick your ass and make you, and that's
a competitive environment.
Yeah, a competitive environment. Yeah. That's your like, do I really want to do this era? And then it's your next step is 30s, and it's like, where do you actually want to live, right? And then like somewhere that's comfortable. And then your 40s and 50s, you're a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
Well.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take that. Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah.
I also think I will forever be more charmed by an artist. Again, any kind of artist, an artist that is synonymous with a place in a map. Mm-hmm. I love the idea of like, oh, you're going to Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. That's you gotta go to Ginny's gallery or whatever. I made that up. Shout out to Ginny and Truth or Consequences. But I love that. I feel like that's so special, because I also feel like artists that have the guts to be like, there's not a ton going on where I am in terms of what I do, but I am the thing. I'm gonna make this happen. I've always thought that was really, really special.
That is cool. Yeah,
it's definitely a thing. I think that's one of the other things I like about doing Miami and doing fairs is that, number one, you're able to, over a long enough timeline, to start to put together who is from where and who represents where and who are, like, when I think of Miami, I think of Alex Yanes, I think of Hoxo. There's like a few people I think of that are very much like specific to Miami. When I think of like different cities, I think of right away, like, sets of artists that represent that culture in a certain way that I connect with. That definitely is a thing, I believe. Yeah. And I think that hopefully those artists feel that way too. I mean, I feel a responsibility to to be representative of New Orleans.
Yeah.
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 And when we go to Miami, we are, as you know.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing for sure.
Yeah, it's similar to my fascination with Marfa, which is like we did a whole series on this podcast about Marfa, where I interviewed a handful of Marfa artists. But those people are over there in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "This is where I want to live, and I want to contribute to this tiny art scene." Yep. Although it's actually a big art scene, and when you look at the ratio, but there's nothing. There's not much going on out there. And it's so impressive that people are just like, no, this is where I'm going to make it happen. This is where I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Although we're spoiled here because a lot of legends have made it happen here well before us and hopefully after us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I think that's one of the things about New Orleans is its present and past creative history. Dude, if it doesn't inspire you or doesn't make you feel like you should be reaching a certain level, you're not paying attention to what has happened here and what's going on here. Yeah, because it's like the creative legacy of New Orleans itself is a responsibility if you're an artist that you have to uphold, not being total dog shit, because you have so many folks here that give their life and their heart and their blood to this place and make it just like legendary, and you want to be a part of that conversation. You can't just do it. No, there's no such thing as being half-assed and being a part of this creative story in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of New Orleans, Ravi, one of my favorite things that you have in the show right now is the print of the Louisiana state flag. We talked about it a little bit last night. There's a cool video about this going up on the socials by the time y'all hear this episode. But talk to me a little bit more about what that process is like. And are you always trying to create a piece of art like that wherever you're doing a show? Or were you just like, no, I love this flag. I love this crazy pelican pricking its own breast to feed its young. Like, what was your process there?
Yeah, well, I love the image, and it's an old, medieval European thing. But actually, the actual story about it was last year. I was contacted by Pearl Jam to do a skateboard for Jazz Fest. They were part of Jazz Fest last year, and then they. And whenever I do like a poster or something like that, like something kind of special, fun thing, I try to like integrate as much as I can whatever the town is that it's happening in. So my design for a skateboard for Jazz Fest, for Pearl Jam, was to just do it very New Orleans centric. So there's like a alligator on it. There's a like a skeleton playing jazz, playing trumpet, and then the flag. And it's all just like works great. It's kind of like my sort of stable of imagery and stuff I love to do is all represented here in New Orleans, just readily, So I just grabbed these things, and so that's like the example I told you before, where I print a bunch of stuff, tear it up, and make new stuff. That's how I did that. I made 3 separate prints that are unique with an alligator, the flag, the skeleton, and then tore it up and made a skateboard, designed for a skateboard. They printed a bunch of them, but so yeah, that's how I made that.
That's so cool. What would the Denver equivalent of that be?
Oh man!
So instead of an alligator, what is there? A rafting guide?
Yeah, maybe. Like a California license plate, maybe.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like wildlife there, man. Wildlife here is amazing. I went and saw some crazy birds over at that Armstrong Park today.
Nice.
So cool. We don't have that kind of like really, really wild shit where you have like the abundance, the like wealthy water environment that you have here. We don't have. So wildlife isn't the same, obviously.
Well, we are quite literally below sea level, and you're famous for being, you as in Denver, famous for being many feet above sea level.
Yeah, 1 mile. Yeah.
So we're very opposite in that. Highest point in the country, lowest point in the country.
We're the underworld.
We are the underworld.
Is it really the lowest point?
I don't know if it's the lowest of everything, but we are below sea level. I mean,
there.
we are sinking as we speak.
Right.
I mean, in our lifetime, the studio, the gallery might end up in the Gulf of Mexico in our lifetime.
I read something the other day that someone said if civilization collapsed, New Orleans would be the first city that nature would reclaim.
Yes. Yes. Sure thing.
We know that's right.
I ain't mad at that. Ravi, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Before we cut out of here, I know this is a big question, but I like to end on something like this. Like, what advice would you give for someone who is inspired by what you do, who's like, I think I want to do something like that? What would you tell them?
Oh man, the main thing is work like whatever amount that you're working now, double it and then double that and then double it again.
Ooh.
You can.
Sextuple your work?
Yeah, you just I don't know unless, I mean, I work a lot, but I think in my experience interacting with young people particularly, it's just kind of like they're sort of waiting, it feels like, waiting for something to happen. And I think save yourself, number one, really like try to like build your thing yourself, and also just work much harder than you are inclined to, I think.
I think that's great advice. Gabe, anything you want to add to that?
It's 100%. It's man after my own heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do this if you're not. This 10,000 hours is for amateurs.
Hot take.
Yeah.
10,000 hours is for amateurs. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Gabe, that's the title of your memoir.
Oh, is it?
Gabe, close us out. Tell us more about the show that's up, how long it's going to be up for, and then sign us out.
Yeah. So Ravi's exhibition just opened last night. Obviously, we are finishing up Jazz Fest weekend. I assume this is coming out probably the week after. But the show will be up in its entirety for somewhere around like another 2.5-ish weeks before we start to transition into our final show of the spring, if you will, that's at the tail end of May. So it's staggering. It's like 54-ish, right? 54 pieces, somewhere around there total?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which is totally crazy. But we... only like Shep produced numbers like that. Like, that's nuts. You and Shepard are out of your minds.
Shout out to Shepard.
Yeah, shout out to Superman for sure. So the exhibition's also obviously on our website, mortalmachinenola.com. We've already sold a number of pieces, but there are still, because he produced so many numerous pieces, there are still definitely a number of great pieces that are left available. And they're great scales, man. There's like small works, there's small to medium works, there's medium works, there's a gorgeous large work that, the collectors are really screwing up because they haven't bought Marvello or Marvelo yet, because that painting is a gem and really well priced. But so that's the story, Bubba.
Love that. And like you said before, I've been very fond of you saying this, Gabe. You pride yourself on the gallery, Mortal Machine, being a place for collectors of all tiers to get their collection started. So I just heard you mentioning, there's some pieces that Ravi has that are it's approachable. The word you would use
I like
for
the word approachable.
For a new collector.
Yeah, I like the word approachable.
So if you are a new collector, you're a fan of the podcast, you follow us on socials and all that, maybe you're getting your collection started with this man right here. Ravi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Ravi Zupa from Denver, Colorado. That's Gabe Schaefer, owner, curator of Mortal Machine Gallery. I'm his co-host, Chris True. If you haven't already, we would love it if you would subscribe, follow the podcast. Whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, check out the other one as well. And tell a friend about it. Tell a friend who likes art, who appreciates comedy, and likes these interviews with visiting artists. We'd appreciate you helping us spread the word. Ravi, where can people find you online?
RaviZupa.com and at Ravi Amar Zupa on Instagram.
Great. And all that will be in the show notes. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. See you next time.